Hello everyone, I'm Yusuf from Techno Study. This class we're going to be talking about OOP concepts. So OOP is basically object-oriented programming. You code, you program oriented around, like, about an object. Like this pen, for example. This pen, we will be coding this pen, and we will be saying this, we will be teaching what this pen is to the computer by programming. Like talking to the computer like we always code. We will be saying this pen is black, has a metal clinch on it, the black brand is blah blah blah, and the thickness is, let's say, 2 millimeters, I don't know. And we will be explaining this object to the computer, and that's what object oriented programming is. In fact, we already use objects, we already create objects for making classes objects, and then, you know, using the variables, this and that, for all of them. But today we're going to be learning the 4 main concepts of them. So this video, we'll be talking about 2 of them only: encapsulation and inheritance. And the next video, we'll be talking about abstraction and polymorphism. So let's start with encapsulation. So if you have an object, and if that object has some variables, like some attributions, some, you know, definitives of them, we keep these private to store them securely and safely. And the only way to access these and change these is by getters and setters, which is used in encapsulation. So let's say class planet, which is a mainly used example, but it's easier to understand. Class planet, and this class planet has a name, which is string name equals Earth, and int days in a year equals 365, and let's say satellites, let's say natural satellites, and it is noon, right? So if we make this private, can we access it from the main method, for example? I don't think we do. And we can't, because these are private, and this is a static context. If we want to access it, we have to use setters and getters. So I will make the setter and getter for name, and then I will show you easier way for days in a year and natural satellites. So these are methods. So we will say public. For getter, we will use return method, string method, return method, by writing string there. And then we will say get name, as you see, it just gives me right here, gets name, and return this name. And if you want to set this to something else, what we have to do is we will not print out, we won't print out or return anything. What we'll do is we will say set name, it gives me right there, and we will put a parameter for it. Let's say string name. So this name, which is, as you may see, this name, it highlights it automatically, equals name. This name. This name will, the parameter's name will change this, and this name in here. If we want to use the easier ways, if you want to learn the easier way to create getters and setters, you just double click, or you just right click. Yeah, right click and generate getter, and then choose these 2, and generate again, and choose these 2, and voila, you have both of these. So let's use these in an example. Let's use these in an example. Let's say class other planet. Just takes my attention there. And then main, and then main method, and then let's create an object for it. Let's say planet equals new enums planet. Yes, so this planet will have a name, which is going to be Mars. see, the planet doesn't give me the planet name. It gives me the method, set name or get name. So first of all, I will show you guys the original version of it. I'll just copy this and paste this right here. Oops. Yeah, now please, now it seems more clear. System.println planet dot get days in a year, and system.println planet dot get natural satellites. So this is before, and I will put a system.println to separate these two, and let's change these to our new planet, Mars, hopefully. And planet dot set name, and let's change it to Mars. Planet dot set days in a year. I searched this up, actually it's 687 days in a year. I know it's a lot. And planet dot set natural satellite, and I searched this up too. It's Phobos. Now let's copy and paste the same exact thing here, and let's run it. So before the system.println, it's Earth, 365, and Moon, and then after that we set these to Mars is 687 and Phobos, and it changes all of them. Now every time we call it with this planet object, it's going to give us this. That's how we change it. We don't go back to here and then we don't change it. We just change it for the objects, and that's how we use setters and getters. So that's it for encapsulation. Now the other topic that we will be talking about today is inheritance. So inheritance is, it inherits the values from one class to other. What I mean? So let's think of an example. Got it. Yeah. So let's say class teacher. So this class teacher has a school, right? String school, which is Techno Study. This teacher works in Techno Study, and it has a classroom number. I want to use an integer here, 305. So this teacher has a classroom number, and let's use a method, and let me show you how you use the method too. And public void excuse me, does system.println teaching. What this teacher does is teaching. So now let's create a human. Let's say Jack. This Jack will be a teacher, and his main subject will be string subject will be computer science, of course, computer science. So if you want to give these values to Jack, how do we do it? Do we have to write these 2 lines of code, or maybe the 4 lines of code every single time, again and again and again? So there is something called inheritance, thanks God, and it helps us about code reusability. You can use this teacher class everywhere. How? You use the extends keyword, and then you say which class you want to extend, which is teacher. See, now if you want to, let's create a main method, and let's say Jack, and if you say Jack dot school, let's say, let me actually write it in a system.println form. Jack dot school, system.println Jack dot classroom, system.println Jack dot and subjects. So now you see I can call school and classroom because I extended here with only calling the Jack. I didn't call the teacher. I didn't create an object for teacher. I created it for the Jack. Now there's this relationship between these. This is a superclass, and this is subclass. superclass and subclass, they're just like it seems. Superclass has the main base, and subclass has what the superclass has, and then it has something else. So as the keyword says, extends, right? So teacher's extension is Jack. Extension means having all of them and then having more, which Jack does have. So if you want, so you may say we just use it once. How does it help for code reusability? Let's create another teacher, and let's call this teacher Joe, and let's extend this as a teacher again, and let's say Joe subject is history, and let's create a main method. Joe equals Joe. And now Joe goes to the same school. Forgot to put it in here again. But Joe is in the same some other classroom. Maybe it is in the same classroom. If he's in the same classroom, then you don't even change it. You don't have to. Then you don't even have to change anything. But if he's in a different classroom, you can just change it like this: 301, 302. All right, let's go on. And system.println Joe dot classroom, and system.println again Joe dot subject. See, now I extended the teacher class. Now I can use the school, and I don't have to write the school every single time. And if they're even in the same classroom, you don't even have to change this. Or you can add more attributes. Oh, we forgot to use the does method. Let's use the does method as well. Oops, that seems weird. Jack does what Jack does and what Joe does. Let me print this. I don't think we printed this before, right? I just skipped it. Techno Study 305, computer science, teaching, and we didn't write the name. I'm sorry, I forgot to write the name. And for the Joe, Techno Study 301, history and teaching. See, it's just simple as it sounds. So we use inheritance for code reusability. This is the main purpose of why we use inheritance. We extend it, and then we have a superclass which has the base, and we have subclasses which has the base plus having something else. And it says extends because it extends the knowledge even more. Well, that's it from our inheritance and encapsulation class. We'll see you in the next class. We will be talking about abstraction and polymorphism. Don't miss that.